Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you have seen in the thumbnail, today's video is answering this question which I often get on my videos and on my DMs, saying if it is a good option to move to relocate to Mexico if your kids would get adjusted here in Mexico. So today I thought I will break down some points so it would be easy for you to make a decision. I always reply to these DMs telling them it's up to you, you have to make a decision. I cannot take a decision for you because that is a fact. It was a good option for me to move to Mexico and it's worked out very well for me, but it might not be the same for you. So definitely it's your decision, but yes, I can give you some advantages and disadvantages of moving to Mexico, and that can help you to make a decision. All right, so without wasting any time, let's get into the video. So let's divide this video into three parts. First, let's go with people who are single, or maybe who are married, but they're moving here, alone, leaving their family. And the second would be the couples. And third would be people who are married with kids. Okay. So let's start with the bachelors or people who are single, who are moving to Mexico. This is definitely a good option for you, especially because when you get an offer from Mexico, I'm sure it's a better offer from what you have back in India, right? The salary part would be good. And maybe the position, even you might be getting a promotion or better position. So definitely the option of moving to Mexico is good for you guys. But only thing you need to be careful is the location that they're giving you. Just check what location they are giving you and go to the internet, or well, internet is not a good option because the moment you give Mexico, they give you all kinds of scary details. So the best option is trying to find out if that locality is good. Check with your company or check with the manager or check if there are any other Indians living in that locality. And as I have always mentioned in my previous videos, the most popular places in Mexico where most of the Indians live are Mexico City, Querétaro, Guadalajara, Monterrey, Leon and Aguascalientes. Leon and Aguascalientes have few Indians, not like other states, but they do have Indians. So do check if the location for you to move to Mexico is these places. If not, check through your company or check if there are other Indians and find out if the place is safe for you to move, and then you can take the decision. And then, of course, you would be thinking, the first question that comes to mind is whether I would be saving enough money when I move to Mexico. Because, of course, Mexican pesos are not as high as US dollars. So you will have this doubt whether you will be able to save, make some savings here in Mexico. So you need to understand that Mexico is not like United States. The standard of living is not as high as in United States. Most of the things here are reasonable. It's just like India. It's a developing country. So you have places where it's, you can live luxuriously, and there are places where you can live, with your minimum wage. So Mexico is definitely a place where you can make some savings depending on the lifestyle that you have. So yes, you will definitely make some savings, not as great as if you get an opportunity in United States, but yes, you will make a saving. But my first advice would be just to make some savings. Don't choose a locality which is very bad or which is very low in rent. Always look for a neighborhood which is safe. Even if you have to spend few bucks more, please look for a location or a neighborhood which is safe, where other Indians are, or not Indians, maybe other foreigners, or even if Mexicans are your neighbors, just make sure that the neighborhood is safe. And then, of course, the saving completely depends on you, on your lifestyle, as I said. If you're someone who likes to go to pubs, who likes to go spend on restaurants, and if you're someone who loves traveling, then of course you would be spending money. But in spite of that, I'm sure you would make some savings too. And if you are not someone who's into this, or you just want to make some saving, then also you have a good option here in Mexico. Now let's come to the couples. The first and foremost question that I get from most of the couples is if my spouse would be able to find a job here in Mexico. So that, let me tell you that, if you're coming to Mexico as a couple and, you already have a work permit and your wife or your husband is on a dependent visa, then yes, it's going to be a bit of a task for him or her to find a job, because most of the companies here won't sponsor you for your work permit. So that would be a challenge. So you need to be prepared for that. If you're in the IT field, maybe it's a little bit easier for you to get a job. Some companies, IT companies, might sponsor you, especially if you have, the skills that they are looking for and they are not able to find the talent locally. Then yes, they might easily recruit you and they might sponsor you for your work permit. But otherwise, most of the companies here would not sponsor for your work permit. So that is going to be a challenge. The second challenge would be the language. Most of the companies obviously expect you to speak Spanish, or at least understand Spanish, and to do the basic conversations in Spanish. So yes, when you come here, you can invest some of your time in learning the language. That way it would be easier for you to find a job, and then you can start looking for the job that in your field in the local job portals like Campo Trabajo or Indeed. These are some of the local job portals where you can look for a job, and attending couple of calls, you will understand how easy or difficult is it to get a job in your field. So as I said, a job for your spouse, it all depends on which field he or she is. So after moving here, you can slowly figure that out. And coming to the savings part, it's the same as I said for the bachelors or the single people. It all depends on your lifestyle and the place from where you do the shopping, or the places that you hang out, or the restaurants that you go, because we have restaurants which are very fancy and which are very expensive, and there are restaurants which are very reasonable. So it all depends on where you go or where you hang out. So now let's come to the people who are married and with one kid or two kids. So definitely the most expensive thing here in Mexico are the schools, especially schools if you're looking for a complete English school or bilingual schools. They are expensive. So be prepared for that, and also make sure that you need to, if your stay in Mexico is a short term, then you need to talk with your family and decide whether it's a good thing for them to move here and to get into a school. When I moved to Mexico, or when we moved to Mexico, my kids were 6 years and 4 years. So they were very young. And I took the decision of moving to Mexico because I didn't like the idea of my husband staying here for 2 years and then me back with kids for 2 years. So I was like, it's okay, my kids are young, we can go there, and if we don't like it, we come back to India. So we took that decision and we moved here. But luckily, after moving here, we did like the place and we wanted to settle down here. So we continued living here. But if you're someone who's very particular about not coming, not settling here in Mexico, then you need to speak to your family and let them know that this is a short-term stay that you're going to be in Mexico. So you need to inform your kids the cultural difference that they're going to have in the schools, especially if your kid is in a middle school or a high school, because as it is in schools, they already have, if they are in middle and high school, they already have their groups. So when your kid comes to the school, if he's a new or if she's a new in that school, it is difficult for that person to get into the group. The kids might not always be as welcoming, and it might be difficult for your kid to get adjusted and to get into a group. So yes, he or she might shout at you later, saying that why did you bring me to this place where people don't speak my language, or people don't speak English, and I am not even comfortable living here. So you need to discuss all this with your family, with your kids, that they might have a cultural difference when they come to school, especially because most of the kids, even if it's a bilingual school, they speak Spanish here. So when I say bilingual, they have like 80% of the subjects in Spanish and like 20% in English. And if it is a complete international schools, then yes, you will find some students who speak English. But otherwise, bilingual schools also, most of the kids speak Spanish. So your kid might be an odd one out, and it might be a little difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. There are kids who get adjusted very easily, and there are some introvert kids who might not be easy, who it might not be easy for them to mingle. So just keep that in mind, explain this to your kids, and after moving here, if you like the place and if you want to settle down, then well be it. But if not, then you have to prepare your kids for that. That's the one challenge that they might face. But from the school side, there is always a good cooperation from schools here. Especially if you're a foreign student, schools make sure that the kids have extra Spanish classes, or they give that extra consideration for the students. So from the school side, you will definitely get a good cooperation, but there might be little difficulty for your kid to get adjusted. If you ask me whether you would be able to make a good savings, that again depends on your lifestyle. And coming to all the three groups, one thing that you need to keep in mind is the insurance. Make sure that your company is covering your insurance, because here the private hospitals and the private consultations are definitely expensive. It varies, like for example, the private consultation varies from 500 pesos to 1500 pesos depending on the specialization of the doctors. And the emergency can be like 3000 pesos for one visit, and depending on the hospitals as well. So yes, the private consultation is definitely expensive. Private hospitals are definitely expensive. So make sure that your company is covering your insurance. We do have good IMSS, good government hospitals here called IMSS, but getting a consultation there is a bit time consuming, so that's not easy for us as foreigners to get and because people there speak Spanish, it's a bit difficult if you're new to Mexico. So all these points, I hope it gives you a bit of an insight and it gives you a bit of an idea whether you should be moving to Mexico or not. There was one more question from one of my subscribers recently asking me about the earthquakes here in Mexico. Yes, that is a bit of a concern, especially in Mexico City. There is a fear of earthquake now and then. We lived in Mexico City in 2012, between 2012 and 2014. And we did experience two big earthquakes during that time, and almost every second or third month there is a small earthquake between the scale of 5.1 or 4.8, wherein you would feel a little movement in the building. But we experienced twice, which was quite a big one. Luckily there was no other damage, or there was no life loss or nothing, but you could feel the movement, and that was the first time that we experienced earthquake. Back in Hyderabad we never had that issue. So yes, I was very scared, but luckily Mexico City's most of the buildings are earthquake resistant. They have built the buildings in such a way that you wouldn't feel much of the shake, so that is a good thing. And having said that, there are many people, many Indians, many foreigners who live in Mexico City, so I don't think that should be a big problem. But yes, in Mexico City there is this issue of earthquake. In Querétaro and Guadalajara or in Monterrey, I don't think there is this problem. I'm not sure about Leon and Aguascalientes. So I hope this video was useful for you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Also leave your comments if you're already here in Mexico after watching my videos. Let me know how your experience is, and let other subscribers also know what challenges you face, or how happy you are here in Mexico. That would help my other subscribers who would be watching this video. Alright, so I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye.